Dear students, in this class we will discuss another important concept in thermodynamics, heat capacity. Different substances respond to heat in different ways. For example, a metal chair is kept outside under the sun. Some water in a pot is also kept outside the sun. So among these two, which one will easily get hot? We know that a metal chair will be very hot if we keep it outside for a few hours. At the same time, water in a pot will be not that much hot as the metal chair. That means water is very resistant to changes in temperature, while metals in general will get easily hot. That means the heat energy required to increase the temperature of the metal chair will be very less. At the same time, more heat energy is required to make water really hot. So how much heat energy that we must add to a system to make an increase in the temperature is defined by the term heat capacity. So what is heat capacity? It is defined as the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of the system by 1 degree is called heat capacity. Generally, we speak of heat capacities in two different terms. One is specific heat capacity and the other is molar heat capacity. The specific heat capacity or the specific heat of a substance is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of the substance by 1 degree Celsius. Whereas the molar heat capacity is the quantity required to raise the temperature of 1 mole of the system by 1 degree. If Q represents the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of the system from T1 to T2, then the molar heat capacity can be expressed as C equals Q by T2 minus T1. Or we can also say that C equals dQ by dt, where dQ is a very small quantity of heat added to the system and dt is the very small rise in temperature produced. We know that Q is not a state function. Q is the heat energy added, and that is a path function. And hence, heat capacity is also a path function. That is, it depends upon under which condition the heat is added. It can be either at constant volume or at constant pressure. So, heat capacity is not a state function. It is a path dependent function. And we can add heat to a system under two conditions. Either we can add at constant volume or we can add at constant pressure. So accordingly, there are two types of heat capacities. One is molar heat capacity at constant volume and the other is molar heat capacity at constant pressure. So first let's see what is meant by molar heat capacity at constant volume. We have seen that the heat capacity is generally represented as C equals dQ by dt. Now, according to the first law of thermodynamics, the change in internal energy delta U equals Q plus W or Q minus P dV. So for a very small change in internal energy, we can represent this equation as du equals dQ minus P dV or dQ equals du plus P dV. So since C equals dQ by dt, we can write the heat capacity equation as C equals, instead of dQ, du plus P dV by dt. Now we have to find the heat capacity at constant volume. At constant volume, dV equals 0. Therefore, this equation becomes Cv equals dou U by dou T at constant V, where Cv is the molar heat capacity at constant volume. So the molar heat capacity at constant volume can be defined as the rate of change of internal energy of the system with temperature at constant volume. So this is the molar heat capacity at constant volume represented as Cv, which is equal to dou U by dou T at constant V. Next, let's see the molar heat capacity at constant pressure. We saw the equation C equals du plus Pdy by dt. Therefore, the molar heat capacity at constant pressure can be written as Cp equals dou U by dou T at constant P plus P into dou V by dou T at constant P. Now we know that the enthalpy of the system H is mathematically defined as H equals U plus PV. Now differentiating this with respect to temperature at constant pressure, we can write dou H by dou T at constant P equals dou U by dou T at constant P plus P into dou V by dou T at constant P. So equating equations 2 and 4, we get Cp equals dou H by dou T at constant P. So this is the equation for molar heat capacity at constant pressure. That is Cp equals dou H by dou T at constant P, where H is the enthalpy and T is the temperature. Therefore, the molar heat capacity at constant pressure can be defined as the rate of change of enthalpy of the system with temperature at constant pressure. For Cp equals dou H by dou T at constant P. So we have seen two different molar heat capacities. One is heat capacity at constant pressure and the other is heat capacity at constant volume. Now we have to see, are they equal or different? So first let's see what happens when heat is added at constant volume. So we have some gas in a cylinder fitted with a piston. Here the piston is locked with a pin so that the volume is kept constant, and we are adding heat to this system. So when heat is added to a gaseous system at constant volume, the entire heat that we supply is used to increase the internal energy of the system. Because the volume is kept constant, no work is done by the system. So the entire heat that we apply is used for increasing the internal energy. Increasing the internal energy means increasing the temperature. Now what happens when heat is added at constant pressure? So the gas inside the cylinder is fitted with a movable piston. So when we apply heat at constant pressure, a part of the heat is used for increasing the internal energy, and the remaining part is used for the expansion work done by the system. Since the volume is not constant, when we add heat, the gas will expand and this will move the piston slowly upwards, so that some work is done by the system. Expansion work is done by the system. The amount of heat energy that we supply to this system is used for increasing the internal energy as well as for doing the expansion work done by the system, so that it will maintain a constant pressure. In other words, we can say that when a system is at constant pressure, we will have to add more heat for the temperature rise of 1 degree than to a system at constant volume for producing the same temperature change. What is heat capacity? Heat capacity is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of the system by 1 degree. So here, in order to produce the temperature change of 1 degree, we will have to apply more heat to a system at constant pressure, because that is used for increasing the internal energy as well as for doing the expansion work. Whereas for a system at constant volume, the entire heat is used for increasing the internal energy or increasing the temperature. That means the heat capacity at constant pressure will always be greater than the heat capacity at constant volume, or we say Cp will be greater than Cv. Now let's see the relation between Cp and Cv. We have already seen the equations for Cv and Cp. Cv is dou U by dou T at constant V and Cp equals dou H by dou T at constant P. Since Cp is greater than Cv, we can write Cp minus Cv equals dou H by dou T at constant P minus dou U by dou T at constant V. Equation 1. The enthalpy is defined as H equals U plus Pv. So differentiating with respect to T at constant pressure, as we have done earlier, dou H by dou T at constant P equals dou U by dou T at constant P plus P into dou V by dou T at constant P. So substituting the value of dou H by dou T at constant P in equation 1, we have Cp minus Cv equals dou U by dou T at constant P plus P into dou V by dou T at constant P minus dou U by dou T at constant V, equation 2. Now let's consider this internal energy. Internal energy is a function of variables like pressure, volume, temperature, etc. So here let's consider only two variables. So let U be a function of V and T. V is the volume, T is the temperature. U is the internal energy. So since internal energy is a state function, it is an exact differential, and an exact differential or a complete differential can be written as du equals dou U by dou V at constant T into dV plus dou U by dou T at constant V into dt, equation 3. Now differentiating du with respect to temperature at constant pressure, we get dou U by dou T at constant P equals dou U by dou V at constant T into dou V by dou T at constant P plus dou U by dou T at constant V into 1, since dt by dt is 1. So in equation 2, instead of dou U by dou T at constant P, we can write equation 4. Therefore, Cp minus Cv equals dou U by dou V at constant T into dou V by dou T at constant P plus dou U by dou T at constant V plus P into dou V by dou T at constant P minus dou U by dou T at constant V. So here dou U by dou T at constant V will get cancel off these two terms. That means Cp minus Cv equals dou U by dou V at constant T into dou V by dou T at constant P plus P into dou V by dou T at constant P, equation 5. Now let's consider the case of an ideal gas. For an ideal gas, the internal energy depends only on temperature and is independent of its volume. That means for an ideal gas, dou U by dou V at constant T is equal to 0. That is, the change in internal energy with respect to volume is 0, because for an ideal gas, the internal energy depends only on the temperature. It does not depend upon the volume. So this term is 0. So in equation 5, when dou U by dou V at constant T equals 0, this first term will be 0. And hence we can write Cp minus Cv equals P into dou V by dou T at constant P. Again, when we consider ideal gases, the ideal gas equation is PV equals RT for 1 mole of an ideal gas, where R is the universal gas constant. Now differentiating with respect to temperature at constant pressure, we get P into dou V by dou T at constant P equals R. So equating equations 6 and 7, we get Cp minus Cv equals R, where R is the universal gas constant. And this is for 1 mole of an ideal gas. And for n moles of an ideal gas, we have Cp minus Cv equals Nr, where n is the number of moles, R is the universal gas constant. So this is the relation between Cp and Cv for an ideal gas. And this relation was derived by Mayer, and hence it's also known as Mayer's relation. Cp minus Cv equals Nr for n moles of an ideal gas.